Not to mention, we started to see, even in our use of live internally, a lot of creative ways in which people were using live. For example, a team started just broadcasting their team meetings so that people who could make it could kind of tune in, and there would be a record of the meeting. We started to see people just take out this product on weekends and share intimate moments, with their family and friends. And these people have, no intention of wanting to be famous or getting a large following, but they were having fun with it. And finally, we would see colleagues do things like go for a run and want to broadcast live so that, their coworkers can, kind of tune in and encourage them and say, like, you guys can do it. And these are all like examples that we had, never thought of before when we were just thinking about designing this for public figures. So that led us to developing the live product and actually launching it so that's available to everyone. Right now it's available in 60 countries on iOS and Android. And we did start to see, really, really remarkable uses. The first is, like you can go and actually see live what someone is doing when they're getting a tattoo. I don't have any tattoos. It made me really not want to get one. The second was, a woman who got married and her father couldn't make the wedding due to health reasons, and so she live broadcasted it so that he could be there and he could, comment and follow along and feel like he was there in the moment. And for me, I recently scored reservations at one of the hottest restaurants in San Francisco. I've been looking forward to it for a really long time. It's a restaurant called Lazy Bear, and when I was there, the chef was giving an intro and talking about the meal he was preparing and what went into it, and I wanted to broadcast that live to my friends so that they could live vicariously with me through the moment. So, this is sort of the process. We start with a problem, we try and validate whether or not this is a real problem, we build a solution. But then that leads us to our third question, which is to be rigorous about whether or not the solution worked. The third question is, well, how will we know if we solve this problem? In a lot of ways, it's better to actually answer this first before you launch anything, because at the point at which you've already put something out there, you're starting to get data back, you're looking at all sorts of numbers, just click through, whatever, and you're doing this thing in your head where you're trying to interpret, is this good, is it bad, did it meet my expectations? And it's just much better for the whole team to be aligned on what success looks like prior to anything going out. And so by asking ourselves this question, it puts a little bit of rigor on making sure we really are trying to, establish what does it mean for us to have solved this problem. A lot of how we do this is it leads us into then developing measurable goals and milestones and metrics that we can hold ourselves and the product that we built accountable to. So the example of groups and groups discovery, we wanted to make sure that people could find a way to talk with other people about things that they're interested in. How will we know if we're successful? Well, after we launched Groups Discover, we should expect to see that people are joining more groups. It's pretty simple. But not only that, we want to make sure that people are actually joining the right groups and groups that are valuable to them. So it's not just about like, oh, did they click the button? Did they click join? It's about, 1 month from now, 2 months from now, going back and seeing if the groups that they joined are ones that that person continues to use and find valuable. An example of reactions and wanting to make sure that we could provide more expressive and lightweight tools for people to share how they truly feel about a story. We wanted to make sure that, yes, are people able to now share more feedback? I mean, that was the whole point, right? We wanted to give people an easier way to do that. So we should see if we were successful, people sharing more feedback than they did prior to us launching this feature. We also wanted to make sure that the reaction set that we launched were not random, that they were actually well-intentioned and that they actually, corresponded to the things that people wanted to say. So we wanted to make sure that, the reaction set that we chose was going to be used by people. And in fact, in our first test, we launched actually a lot more reactions, and we looked at the data, and it turns out, some of them people just weren't really using. And so by the time we ended up doing a global launch, we ended up cutting some of those reactions. And finally, we wanted to make sure too that if you got a reaction on your post, that it felt like it was a good experience, that it felt better than just getting a like count, that you felt like the information was more interesting or more valuable to you. And finally, in terms of live video and launching live video to everyone, we wanted to make sure that that people who broadcasted had a great experience and that they felt like, yes, this is something that lets me more spontaneously share with my friends in the moment, right? We wanted to make sure that they liked that experience so that they would come back and use it again. And similarly, if you watch the live video, we wanted that content to actually be interesting and meaningful. So if we were successful, we should see that more and more people are spending more time watching live videos. So these are some of the examples of the ways in which we try to articulate, these are the ways, and this is how we're going to know if this product is successful. Then we put it out there, and then we learn from it, and if it doesn't quite meet our expectations, we go back and we iterate and we try again. So that's basically our framework. It's pretty simple. What people problem are we trying to solve? How do we know that this is a real problem? And how will we know if we've solved this problem? There's a poster at Facebook that I love. It hangs on the walls, and it says, "Nothing at Facebook is somebody else's problem." And it reminds us, that if something is not quite right, or if something is more friction than it should be, or isn't as easy, then we can't just sit around and wait for that problem to be solved, because it probably won't be. We have to try and take some action and to really own it, and to try and develop solutions that are going to fix that problem. And so when I go back and I look at all of the different products that we launched, all of the things that have worked and that haven't, I do find that there is a pattern. The teams that get really, really enamored with a solution, a lot of times we know how hard product development is. You try something once, it's a very, very low chance that you got it right the first time. But if what you went after was because you had this vision in your head of how something was going to work, and it doesn't work that way, then a lot of times I see teams get lost, they get demoralized, they don't exactly know where to go from there. But teams that fall in love with a problem, that have conviction that what they're trying to do is meaningful and real, then when they put a solution out there and it doesn't work, they just say, cool, let's try another solution, or let's iterate, or let's continue to find the research, and let's continue to try and understand what about the way that we build this product is going to make this work. And they don't give up, and they just keep going until ultimately they do find a successful version of the solution that solves the problem. So I hope to see you guys all go out there. Perhaps some of this framing will be useful to you in your own journeys for building products. I hope to see you guys go out there and build some really great things. Thank you.